Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe. What I'm going to do is reply to a viewer. They have some great advice, and we're also talking about the amount of sexual partners somebody has had, how it affects a relationship, and why, when we're trying to heal and move on, that it's important to be really selective in what we do with our own bodies. So, this is the reply from my viewer. Greetings to Mexico. Thanks for the reply. So he says, "Look, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to tell you the truth and only the truth. It may hurt, it may offend, but that's the qualities of truth. Otherwise, it's a lie, and lies are comfortable. Lies are comfortable, and the narcissist wants to stay comfortable. They don't like taking the accountability. They don't like feeling on edge because sometimes it's unpredictable of the outcome when you tell a truth that might hurt, and they just play it easy. So this person continues on. Handsome men and charismatic who are rated from 8 to 10, they have many options and will never settle down with anyone. So some can settle down, but they do know, hey, I'm good looking, and it can go for women too, but they eat it up. And with so much to choose from, they don't always know what they want. And it's like going to a restaurant and there's so many options and it overwhelms your mind. So you don't make a decision, or you just pick one and say, this is what I have for the evening. And sometimes they might do that with their life. So some do settle down, but the better looking, more charismatic, the more options that they truly do have. So good men are very boring and lack the roller coaster of emotions that a man with qualities does have. So sometimes good-hearted people, they always say that the narcissist loves the chaos. And that right there is a sign that they need to need chaos. Is saying that they need some type of stimulation because they're not comfortable in themselves. So kind-hearted people, mentally healthy people have it where they say the good always finish last. They can seem boring because they're predictable, and it's sad, but look for good-hearted people when you move on. So he continues on saying, if you had several sexual partners, you will have a problem in the future because a part of your heart is impregnated with the essence of each sexual partner you have had. And I'll talk about a study in just a second. So he says, if for some reason you do find a good man, you will not be able to assimilate him because sooner or later you will compare him with a couple from the past. And that can definitely happen. I try not to eat like really good stuff because I know I might like it and that kind of ruins my diet. So I purposely don't try things. And it's the same with sexual partners. I purposely don't dabble into one night stands because it might cause you to want to go back to that and isn't necessarily healthy. So there is times when you might start thinking, am I missing out on this little sexual act? Or it takes away from a healthy relationship in the future, because you always, not always, but you're going to start thinking, am I missing out? That FOMO, fear of missing out, and unsettled with what you have, because sometimes you think there might be something better. The more sexual partners you have, they've done a study. If you've had 6 to 8, is what during the study, what he believed he remembered was 6 to 8, that it starts causing more problems. Because you do have in your mind, it's like a menu, just like I said at the restaurant. Like, is that what should I have chosen the lasagna, or should I have had chicken marsala? So it's not healthy to necessarily fill your mind with that menu, because then you're not content with what you have. So he continues on saying, it can lead to cheating problems, which is true. Do I go back to that menu, that little black book? Because your heart may miss that bad man who hurt you, but it also made you feel loved. And that's where duality comes in. What you need to do is cleanse your heart and heal and love yourself. So this is important, to love ourselves. And why is that important? When we love ourselves, we start taking care of our house, our car, our finances, our motivations, our dreams, our children, our family, our friends. And when we start doing that, confidence starts building up. Confidence is sexy. Having your shit together is sexy. And we feel good about ourselves then. And it takes effort to do that. And I know how hard that is when we're depressed or sad or ruminating or longing, but we're wasting time. And I saw this picture where it was an old man and he's going into the sea, like the ocean, the sea. And there's a man, middle-aged man, we'll call him husband, dad, wife, and baby. So the father's reaching out to help the old man. And you have this mother clinging to grab the baby. And it's be seen two ways, but the way it was interpreted is holding on to the past. He's trying to save the old man. The old man is representing the past. Mom and dad represent the present. So by holding on to the past, he's letting go of the future, which is the baby, and also the present, because he's living in the past. And it was really powerful painting. Another person said, help the old man, the mom tries to help the baby, and then the dad helps the mom. But if you look at it that way, where holding on to the past, he wasn't focused at all on the future. He wasn't focused at all on the present. And something to take to mind, we're holding on to the past and we're forgetting. Like, I've wasted years of my life walking around pacing. What can I do? Should I call him? Should I not call him? Is he going to call me back? We waste our present. And when we waste our present, we're destroying our future. So loving ourselves is important to draw things to us, because people are drawn to somebody who's not crying all the time. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. But when we rebuild our wholeness, like, would you want to buy half a car? You want the whole product and we need to make ourselves that whole product again, so we can understand where our boundaries are. It's okay to say no to people. We got to practice doing that. And also see the red flags when we do tell somebody no. How do they react to that? And looking through all these websites of all, like, people's comments, like, I'm getting rid of my friends. I'm seeing, they do all these purges on Facebook because they're starting to realize who their true friends are and who doesn't have their back. We also have to be cautious on that too, because we have to use our empathy too to see why they're not there for us. And it's such a hard juggle with people, because there's always two people involved and there's always two sides of the story. We see our situation from our perspective. They will see it from their perspective, because we have to relate it to something. We have to relate it to something. And if it doesn't make sense to us, it's hard to relate. Like, they say everything tastes like chicken. They're trying to get you to understand by relating it to something. So if I say it tastes like indigo, a color, you might not understand that. Like, it tastes like indigo. And then you might go through your mind and you're like, oh, I had a popsicle that was that color, so it tastes like this popsicle. But unless you relate it to something, it's hard to comprehend. And that's where empathy helps us comprehend. So sympathy is different than empathy. Sympathy is you understand it from an outside perspective. So narcissists can have some sympathy, and some do have some different levels of empathy. But empathy is the true meaning of it, when you really relate to it. If I say this meal tastes like chicken with spaghetti sauce, and you know what that tastes like, you understand it. And that's where the empathy helps us understand it, because we relate from our perspective to their perspective and it matches. So he continues on, if you can't love yourself, you won't be able to love anyone, because we're too absorbed in our pain. And the narcissist is stuck in that. They can't love others because they're stuck in their pain, their shame. So we have to leave the past behind and heal. So if that man saved the father in that painting, father's going to live for a little bit. Okay. He'll probably live a little bit, but he's gone after that. So maybe our relationship might continue on with the narcissist for a little while. It's going to fade away. It's going to die. So he could have had the rest of his life with the future and a long time with the present. And he gave it all away. It's hard because it's dealing with family members, but as an analogy, it can kind of help you see if you relate it to the past, let go of the past, you live in the present because that's where we are. And we have to embrace it. It's hard to let go, but we're letting go of us to hold on to somebody else. Does that make sense? We're letting go of our future and our present for somebody who's going to take us down or not be there for us. So he was kind and said, I hope you find yourself well, heal and be happy, since your happiness depends on you. And that's so true. Whatever it is that's important to us in life, if it's a family and we're sitting at home, not going out meeting people, it's never going to happen. If we want a career and we either don't apply or we don't get educated or the skills needed for that job, it's never going to happen. We have to love ourselves enough to make our dreams come true. And we can't make others do that. You know, if I have somebody apply for me, it's not going to help. If I have somebody get a college degree, I can't use it or learn the skills. It's not going to help me unless I take charge of my life. So that's all the way from Mexico. And it's good hearing from people around the world. I'd love to hear where you guys are from. Comment below. Let's say hello to everybody. But I wanted to share that because I want you to think about that painting. And I want you to think about what this viewer said. It's time to love ourselves. Another person said, oh, can I remember what it was? Alpha widow. So I've never heard it put that way, but if we relate it to me, my partner's gone. He got married, he's not dead, but he's gone from my life. So I'm in a sense a widow. And I'm making myself the alpha widow, where I get stuck. I'm the best widow who mourns and won't move on and is stuck. They also did a study where people in healthy relationships, after they were truly widowed or widowed, they married quicker. They married quicker because they know how beautiful marriage can be. And it was a healthy thing because I always think, like, I've never been married, but if I lost a husband, like, it would probably devastate me. And you wonder, you know, am I cheating on them? Should I move on? You bring in religion and how do you handle it? What do you do? And I believe we can marry a second time, but we have to be healthy to move on. And if you're in a healthy relationship, it's interesting that the healthy ones moved on quicker, that they were able to understand how beautiful it was and to take a leap of faith again. So people who were in toxic relationships, it's hard to take a leap of faith because we've been hurt, we've been done wrong. And we see all these things. This morning I woke up to, was it 22, and she had a Tinder date and she called DoorDash, she tied him up and she stabbed him. And he was able, there was a knife under the bed, so he was able to cut free. This is like 22-year-old. He was 21 on a Tinder date. And the way society is, the way we're dating now, all the drug use, so many unhappy people, so many people on edge, getting pissed off quickly or wanting to control the situation. The amount of people that lack empathy or have no empathy is astounding. And, you know, even just going to church isn't a safeguard because some people use that as a facade. So we really have to get to know people and take our time. So as far as the sexual stuff, um, it's something to think about, because when we have something great that we've had in our lives, like an amazing rendezvous night, um, you start thinking about it. Sometimes you start missing it. You compare it. And if you've never had that, and it's okay if you've had it in a healthy relationship, but when it's too much, when you have too much to select from, it makes you long for things. It also, let's say, my two, you know, let's say I was to go back, I have two to pick from, and I can go, it's not going to work. When you have like 30 and 4 of them are open to coming back into that relationship, you're going to start thinking about those 4. So it's best to let go, to move on. And, if your person ever comes back, that's up to you what you do with it. But make sure that you realize your worth. You guys can do what you want if you're polyamorous, things like that, but I'd like to look into more about polyamorous, bisexual, and where that really comes from. And I'm not judging people. It's just something I'm curious about. I'm heterosexual, monogamous, but is there something there that, are we just seeking love? Are we seeking physical attention? I'm going to do some more research before I talk on it, because I know it's going to be a sticky situation. But I'm not judging people, but it makes you wonder too. Like they talk about genetic components and things like that on homosexuals and things like that. And you see a lot of people with one night stands and or cheating or multiple partners. And is it just to seek a love that we don't have within ourselves? Comment below. I'm not judging. I'm just curious. Is it something that's lacking within us? So if your preference is homosexual, I don't think that so much relates to polyamorous and bisexual. I could be wrong, but are we lacking something within ourselves? Because we also have different religions, things like that. So it gets tricky. It gets tricky. We can't just pinpoint things. And I'm trying to have empathy to understand. And then you got all the mental illness and triggers that we have. We got our triggers from the reactive abuse or the abuse that we've gone through. And it causes trust issues. And once you have trust issues, it can destroy a relationship. So we can't bring our old baggage into our new relationship. But we still have to be cautious. It's a juggle, but we can't put distrust. There's 2 different ways. I see all over the internet where make them earn your trust. And then another one says that you should go in with trust until they take it away. What do you guys do? Are you cautious, giving that vibe of distrust? So they're walking on eggshells. It's already starting out toxic. Or do you trust them? But then when you got to think about society, it's a tough juggle. How do you guys handle your new relationships? Because I'm still single. I haven't figured out how to handle what I want to do, because I'm kind of still in that distrust state, and that's not a healthy state to get into a relationship with. But do you take the plunge and move forward? I'll do more research on that. So thank you for that comment. Topic requests are absolutely adored, and I'll see you in the next video. Greetings from Michigan.